Sophie Lawler is CEO of the Total Fitness Health Club chain. We've also got Professor Greg Whyte from Liverpool John Moores University. And Greg, you took a lead role in the development of guidance for gyms and leisure facilities after the first lockdown. So what do you make of the decision to close gyms now in Liverpool?
Well, I did. Good morning. I did. I worked incredibly hard with UK Active, who's the sector representative body. And we worked for over 3 months on establishing the guidelines, but in combination with the Deputy Chief Medical Officer, with SAGE, with Number 10. All of those groups ticked off everything that we did. We presented them to the sector, and the sector has worked incredibly hard, incredibly diligently, and spent an awful lot of money on making sure that they adhere to those guidance. And because of that, the transmission rate is incredibly low across the health and fitness sector, and in fact runs at 0.34 infections for every 100,000 visits. So what that means is there needs to be 1/3 visits before you get one infection.
How do you get those figures? How can you be so certain?
Because the members of UK Active, all of those within the sector, are actually collecting data. I think it's interesting that you've just been speaking about track and trace. Well, gyms, the leisure facilities, actually already have an inbuilt track and trace system, because every time you go to the gym, you have to book in. So the sector knows who is in the building, how long they're in the building for, and also has contact details for them if there is an issue. So in collecting all of that data on a continual basis, and then analysing that data, which we've been doing over the past month, in somewhere in the region of 1,700 facilities across the UK, certainly in England specifically. What we know is that the infection rate is vanishingly low across gyms.
What
I was going to say, the other side of that is what's critically important to remember here. This is a health crisis, and the role of the health and fitness sector is to enhance the health of the nation. And what we do know is that metabolic health and immune health are critically important when it comes to both in terms of the contraction of the disease, but also hospitalisation and death.
Do you feel, Sophie Lawler, then, that you have been unfairly targeted?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Greg made some great points there. We're the only sector that's set up to manage customer data exceptionally well. And we're an exceptionally controlled setting when you compare us to other settings. So it's absolutely baffling. I think you mentioned earlier the balance between, the government's trying to create the balance between financial health and physical health. I mean, this is a sector that does both. So it is astonishing.
Have you had any contact with leaders in Liverpool at all about this decision?
None. No. It's really disappointing to be the only sector that's targeted, and for this to be a particular measure that will only be agreed locally just makes it exceptionally complex to manage, very difficult to hold the business together. And we feel a little bit like we're being sort of pushed from pillar to post between local leaders who have very varying levels of understanding and exposure to this very important sector.
And how many people were actually back in your gyms? Were people keen to get back?
Oh, absolutely. We've been so well supported by our members. This is a sector that, unlike others, your members are very, very well invested in keeping your sector safe and open, because it's a vital part of their social wellness routine. So unlike other sectors, we can be exceptionally safe. So, some segments of our membership base were waiting, and that was very much what they said. We're going to wait until the springtime when things feel a little bit safer. But you know what? We've been really, really excited by the way in which our members have embraced us, and importantly, new joiners, people that have never been in a health club setting before, who have felt very reassured by our approach.
Thank you very much, Sophie Lawler from Total Fitness, Professor Greg Whyte from Liverpool John Moores University.